Our presentation will be on the region of Burma, located in southwestern Asia between India and China. We will be talking about the conflicts and human rights violations that occurred in Burma from it being under colonial rule to present-day Burma. Burma was ruled under the British for around 60 years from 1824 to 1941 until the Japanese took over after World War II. They were finally an independent country on January 4, 1948, but was then under 26 more years of brutal dictatorship. Burma was under Japanese rule from 1942 to 1945. A group called the 30 Comrades, led by Aung San, were trained and fought alongside the Japanese, hoping they would help them achieve independence. But they soon noticed the Japanese were not going to help, so Aung San made an agreement with Britain to help them defeat the Japanese. The anti-fascist People's Freedom League was the main political party in Burma from 1945 to 1962, formed during Japanese occupation by Thongken So and Aung San. In 1944, they had a secret meeting to resist Japanese occupation, fascism, and fought for a more equal society. Aung San was a Burmese revolutionary nationalist and founder of the modern Burmese army. He brought Burma out of colonial rule but was assassinated on 1947 by an organization similar to a military force. He is also the father of Nobel Peace Prize winner Aung San Suu Kyi. In 1962, the military led by General Ne Win took control of the government through a coup d'état. Between 1962 and 1974, all aspects of society were monitored or censored by the government. Up until 1988, Burma was ruled by a one-party system. During this time, Burma became one of the world's poorest countries. Ne Win was the leader of Burma for 26 years. He was known as a gambler and a playboy. His way of rule was much like Stalin's. He had secret police named the intelligence operators who silenced and limited Burma's freedoms through censorship. Many protests and demonstrations occurred under his rule. Burma was under brutal dictatorship for 26 years under Ne Win. When civilians tried to speak out, they were punished by torture or death. Kids were killed or buried alive for singing the national anthem, and other victims were interrogated. Slave labor and child labor also existed. One of the major protests during the period of dictatorship occurred on August 8, 1988 in Rangoon. Hundreds of thousands of students, monks, children, and housewives demonstrated on the streets, shouting, "This is our business running the government." Thousands of people were killed. Aung San Suu Kyi returned to Burma from her home in England in the midst of these uprisings. Many citizens looked to her as a new hope for peace in Burma. Suu Kyi was placed under house arrest for 6 years, but once she was let out, she immediately continued a nonviolent movement towards achieving democracy and human rights, receiving a Nobel Peace Prize. Aung San Suu Kyi was the founder of the National League of Democracy. In 1990, a parliamentary election was held, and the National League of Democracy won more than 80% of the seats. The military refused to accept these results and announced this league as an illegal league and ordered it to be disbanded.
Burma holds 1/4 of the world's total child soldiers, with 70,000 children under 18 in the army and 6,000 to 7,000 involved in Burma's clashing ethnic groups. They are taken off the streets and receive only 1 year of training before being put on the front line.
The generals held their power with the use of foreign money. 65% of financial support for these generals came from foreign oil companies. Also, wealthy government leaders from countries such as Britain and Australia participated in this secret trade.
In 1996, the year of the tourist. With the use of foreign investors' money, the military government built tourist attractions to support Burma's economy. However, slave labor was used to build these tourist destinations, which were made to act as a cover-up of the government's use of modern-day slavery. The people of Burma created a parliament of the streets by the use of pro-democracy newspapers. These newspapers were distributed for free and had titles such as Liberation Daily, The Scoop, and New Victory. Through free press and about 40-plus newspapers, the Burmese people opposed their government. In 2005, a two-child policy for Rohingya Muslims was created as a way to discriminately control the population. This crime against humanity makes women resort to illegal and unsafe abortions. Extra children do not have status and receive no education or any other government services. In 2008, the military regime created a new constitution for Burma, called the 2008 Constitution. This document provided immunity to the military's past crimes against human rights. It ensured that no one would be put to blame for the suffering of the Burmese people. Burma's military government severely punished those who opposed their actions or ideas. Opposition created many political prisoners that would be imprisoned for years. Recently, however, a new order was proposed that could potentially release all of the remaining political prisoners due to international pressure. The UN recently offered the Burmese armed forces to send troops to UN peacekeeping operations that prevent the abuses and undermining of peacekeeping standards. However, the Burmese government still did not release child soldiers, showing little improvement toward equal human rights in the nation.
Presently in Burma, human rights violations still continue. This year, for example, a discriminatory marriage legislation was proposed that would strip Buddhist women of the right to freely choose whom they marry. The proposal would force them to only marry within their religion. This shows discrimination and segregation towards one particular religion by the government.